Have you ever wondered why your dreams vanish the moment you open your eyes? Why something that felt so real just seconds ago suddenly dissolves into nothing, like smoke in the wind? Maybe you've told yourself it's just how the brain works. But what if that's not the full story? What if there's something or someone preventing you from remembering for a reason? The truth is, dreams aren't random. They are encrypted messages from the universe, whispered through the veil of sleep. Ancient traditions and modern seekers alike have sensed it, that what happens when we close our eyes at night might be even more real than our waking life. You are not just sleeping. You are traveling, receiving, being tested. And the fact that you can't remember, that may not be a flaw, it may be a design. A spiritual filter keeping your mind from truths it's not yet ready to carry. In this video, we're going to uncover the hidden mechanics behind dream memory and what truly happens when we forget. We'll explore dreams as portals to other dimensions, why certain forces block our recall, and how to unlock states of lucid dreaming that can radically transform your life. If you've ever felt like your dreams were trying to tell you something important, you were right. You just haven't been taught how to listen. And let me be real with you. Thousands of people watch these revelations and never subscribe. And that's okay, if you're ready to forget this the moment it ends. But if something in you stirs when I say that you were born to remember, to wake up within and beyond the dream, then hit subscribe now. Because what I'm about to reveal might change how you see your mind, your life, and your soul. This isn't about sleep. It's about awakening, a mystical, symbolic journey into the very nature of your consciousness. And it all starts with a question no one dares to ask. What if forgetting is the first sign that your soul has seen something extraordinary? There's a strange silence that follows us upon waking, a blank space where something once lived. It slips through our fingers like water. We know something was there, but can't quite name it. In this fleeting moment, many ask, why do I forget my dreams? Science, ever precise, will tell you that the hippocampus, guardian of our memories, rests during the REM stage, creating gaps in recollection. But the seeker of truth feels something deeper stirring beneath that answer. What if forgetting isn't failure, but protection? Imagine for a second that the mind is a sacred temple and the dream world a storm of infinite symbols. Not all symbols, however, are meant to be deciphered in the light of day. In the realm of spirituality, there's a belief whispered across cultures. Dreams are filtered not by error but by mercy. The psyche, wise beyond logic, shields the conscious mind from visions it's not ready to face, as if the universe itself installs a gate, not to withhold, but to preserve. What we forget, perhaps, is what we're not yet ready to carry. Carl Jung once suggested that the unconscious is autonomous. It decides what emerges and what sinks. In this view, forgetting isn't the absence of memory, but the presence of a force greater than logic, orchestrating our inner evolution. When we awaken and can't recall, perhaps it's because the dream held a mirror too vivid, a truth too loud. Some truths come not to be spoken, but to linger quietly, shaping our choices from behind the veil. The mysticism of this mechanism lies in its subtlety. It guards, it teaches, it transforms in silence. Look at your own life. Have you ever felt a sense of déjà vu, a knowing without origin? That could be the residue of a dream your mind didn't retain, but your soul integrated. Sometimes a forgotten dream becomes a sudden decision, a gut feeling, a pull toward or away from someone. The universe speaks not only in words or visions, but in inclinations, synchronicities, and invisible hands. Forgetting in this light becomes an act of grace, part of your journey back to yourself, a sacred forgetting, not a flaw. And so, the question shifts. Not, why can't I remember my dreams? But, what is being asked of me in this forgetting? The dream world is not separate from you, it is you. The shadowed part, the timeless guide, the divine whisper. Each night, your consciousness steps beyond the veil. Whether you recall it or not, something shifts. The work begins not just with memory, but with awareness. And as we drift deeper into this labyrinth of sleep and symbol, another door begins to open, a glimpse into the possibility that we're not merely dreaming, we're traveling. When the body sleeps, the soul begins its pilgrimage. It's not just rest, it's departure. Countless mystical traditions whisper that our dreams are not illusions of the brain, but real journeys through hidden layers of existence. In the liminal space between sleep and waking, the boundaries of the physical dissolve. Time stretches, space warps, and we find ourselves in places that feel strangely familiar, yet entirely unknown. These aren't random hallucinations. They're sacred voyages orchestrated by the deeper intelligence of the universe. In the silence of the night, the dreamer steps into dimensions beyond logic, realms governed by symbols, frequencies, and archetypes. One might encounter an ancient teacher, cloaked in golden light, or wander through a forest where every leaf hums with consciousness. These aren't fantasies, they're messages from the soul, filtered through the language of mysticism. To the mind conditioned by waking life, it may seem strange, even absurd. But for the one attuned to spirituality, these experiences are gateways, invitations to expand the self beyond the veil of flesh and matter. Jung spoke of the collective unconscious, a vast ocean of symbols and patterns shared by all of humanity. Within dreams we dive into this sea. It's where the ancient and the unborn, the shadow and the self, coexist. And in this sacred ocean, sometimes we meet entities that are not simply figments of our own psyche. Call them guides, ancestors, or echoes of our higher self. Their wisdom is often cloaked in metaphor, yet it stirs something deep inside us. You wake up changed, unable to explain why, but sensing that something eternal just brushed against you. If you've ever dreamed of flying, of falling through stars, or of speaking in forgotten languages, you've touched this multidimensional current. These dreams are not bound by the limitations of earthly logic. They carry frequencies, codes, spiritual blueprints. They may bring healing, warnings, or deep initiations. The universe doesn't always use words. It uses resonance. And when we dream, we're more receptive to that sacred frequency. The ego steps aside, and the soul listens. These are the moments when the veil grows thin, and truth slips through. So, what if your dreams aren't just about you, but about something much greater? What if each night, as your eyes close, you become part of a cosmic dialogue, one that stretches across dimensions, lifetimes, and destinies? Every dream could be a map, a memory, or a mission. And the more we listen, the more we realize we've never been truly alone. There are forces, loving, ancient, mysterious, waiting for us just beyond the threshold of sleep. And as this realization unfolds, a new question rises from the mist. What stops us from remembering these encounters? There's a peculiar feeling that haunts many upon waking, a sense of being interrupted. You were on the verge of something. Then, gone. A door slammed, a whisper silenced. It's like waking from a conversation with the universe, only to find your memory wiped clean. What is this force that blocks us from remembering? Some call it neurological noise, others a lapse of attention, but the seeker knows better. There are veiled forces, both internal and external, that intervene between the dream and the conscious mind. Sometimes the dream is clear, until your alarm rings, jolting you back into the density of waking life. Other times there's a feeling of pursuit, as if you were on the brink of discovering something, only to be yanked away by an unseen hand. These aren't just disruptions of sleep, they are signals. Signals that something, maybe your own psyche, maybe the very architecture of mysticism, chose to draw the curtain, not to punish you, but to preserve you from confronting what you're not yet ready to know. Within the framework of spirituality, these interruptions are not coincidences. They may come from psychological defenses, the ego resisting the rise of a buried truth, or they may be energetic, external interferences. Sensitive individuals often report waking up with a feeling of censorship, as though an unseen presence didn't want the dream remembered. Others speak of dreams dissolving the moment they try to write them down, as if the information is too volatile to be held by language. These are not failures. They are patterns, and the universe speaks in patterns. Carl Jung taught that what we repress does not disappear, it waits. And often dreams are the first realm where the repressed returns. So when you wake with your heart pounding, unable to recall the image that triggered your fear or awe, consider this. Perhaps your unconscious pulled the memory back to protect your conscious mind from premature revelation. The shadow doesn't force itself into the light. It knocks. And if the door isn't ready to be opened, it walks away. For now. That forgotten dream may return years later in another form, disguised as intuition or déjà vu. So the question isn't just what is blocking your dreams, but why? Is it your own resistance, a protective veil, or something ancient guarding its secrets? The next time you wake in confusion, don't rush to label it as forgetfulness. Sit in stillness. Let the feeling echo. Often the body remembers what the mind forgets. There may be fragments waiting for you in the silence, symbols lingering in the body like static on an old radio. And if you listen closely, you might just hear the next layer calling, leading you toward the art of remembering. Remembering dreams isn't about forcing memory, it's about creating sacred space. The dream doesn't live in logic or repetition. It lives in subtlety. In spirituality, we learn that recall begins long before sleep. It starts with intention. Like planting a seed in the dark soil of the subconscious, you must first signal to the universe that you are ready to receive. A simple act, placing a notebook beside your bed, becomes a ritual, a silent promise to listen, and dreams respond to those who listen. One of the most effective tools is the dream journal. Write the moment you wake up, even if it's only fragments, emotions, or colors. The act of writing pulls the dream from the symbolic into the tangible. It tells your psyche, this matters. Over time, the language of the dream world becomes clearer. Patterns emerge, guides return, entire narratives unfold. The more you observe, the more the universe reveals. It's not that you weren't dreaming before, it's that now you've become fluent in a forgotten dialect of the soul. Staying still upon waking is another key. Don't move, don't reach for your phone, just stay, eyes closed. Let the feeling wash over you. Ask yourself, where was I just now? Often the dream lingers like smoke in the air, and one breath too quick can scatter it. In that stillness, memories resurface. Images, voices, even entire sequences. This practice, rooted in mysticism, allows the dream to integrate instead of evaporate. And in that space, the symbols take form, anchoring themselves into the waking mind. Meditation before sleep is a powerful way to clear mental noise and open the path to deeper awareness. You might light a candle, breathe deeply, or visualize a question, letting it float into the dream realm. This signals the subconscious that you are not merely a passive sleeper, but a conscious traveler. Over time, dreams may respond with clarity, insight, even guidance. The universe, always listening, begins to echo your intention, and with each night the veil between worlds thins a little more. Even your sleeping environment matters. Clutter, artificial light, and digital distractions can cloud the dreamscape. Make your bedroom a sanctuary. Portal, not a prison. Crystals, essential oils, silence. Small details that tell your body and soul it's safe to explore. Because remembering dreams isn't about memory alone. It's about presence, reverence, and alignment with the hidden currents of the inner world. And as your connection deepens, you may find that what you're remembering isn't just a dream. It's a conversation that's been waiting lifetimes to happen. There comes a moment, rare, surreal, when you realize you're dreaming while still inside the dream. The colors sharpen, the air shifts, time bends at your command. This is not a fantasy, it's a lucid dream, a sacred state where awareness pierces the veil of sleep. In spirituality, lucid dreaming isn't just a phenomenon, it's initiation. The moment you awaken within the dream, you awaken to the deeper layers of your own being. You become both actor and observer, both question and answer, within the boundless theater of the universe. Achieving lucidity begins with intention. Techniques like reality checks, asking, "Am I dreaming?" several times a day, may seem mundane, but they build a bridge between the conscious and unconscious mind. Over time, this question echoes into the dream world, triggering awareness. The wake back to bed method, where you briefly awaken after several hours of sleep and then return to dreaming, heightens the chances. These tools aren't hacks, they're rituals, doorways into mysticism, disguised as habits. Lucid dreaming challenges the illusion of control. Yes, you can fly, create worlds, conjure landscapes with a thought, but the true power lies not in control, but in presence. In this heightened state, the dream world reveals its true nature, fluid, responsive, symbolic. You may meet a figure who feels ancient. You may open a door that leads to a memory you'd long buried. Every interaction holds a mirror. The universe uses this space to speak without interference, and for those who listen, wisdom flows like light. There's also deep emotional healing in lucidity. You can return to past traumas, change endings, or offer closure where none existed. You can face fears in symbolic form, a dark figure, a burning house, a collapsing bridge, and discover they were fragments of your own psyche asking to be integrated. Carl Jung would call this individuation the conscious reunion with the shadow. In lucid dreaming, you don't run from the shadow, you meet it, and in that meeting, you remember who you are, beyond fear. And so, lucid dreaming is not escape, it's deep entry, into the labyrinth of your own soul, into the unspoken language of spirituality and the hidden laws of the universe. As your awareness sharpens within the dream, something else begins to stir, the realization that the dream itself is alive, and that you are its co-creator. What begins as an experiment becomes a practice, and what begins as a game becomes a path, a portal to the next revelation, that the dream is speaking. Back. Some dreamers report meeting the same guide across multiple dreams, as if an ancient companion waits for them each night on the other side. Others speak of visiting cities made of sound, libraries of light, or floating in pure presence. These are not fantasies. They are expressions of the universe communicating through symbol, frequency, and vibration. Lucid dreaming, then, becomes a form of prayer, not upward but inward, a practice of descent into the sacred, where the answers are whispered, not shouted. Carl Jung would remind us that the self, the totality of who we are, often reveals itself in dreams through archetypes, the wise old man, the divine child, the shadow, the anima. Lucid dreaming gives us the rare chance to speak with these archetypes instead of merely watching them. Imagine sitting across from your inner sage and asking, "What must I heal?" This isn't fantasy. It's individuation in real time. It's mysticism with structure, a dialogue with the unconscious made conscious. As these journeys deepen, lucid dreaming shifts from novelty to sacred tool. It becomes a mirror polished by awareness, a chamber of inner alchemy. Each encounter, each symbol, each lesson becomes a seed of transformation. And once you've tasted that wisdom, you no longer chase the dream for pleasure alone. You return each night like a pilgrim to the temple of your own consciousness, asking to remember, to receive, to awaken. And slowly, the question arises, if I can wake up there, can I wake up here too? What if life itself is just another dream, only slower, denser, more persistent? This is the question that begins to bloom once you've tasted lucidity. After waking up inside the dream, something subtle shifts in the way you move through waking reality. You begin to notice patterns, synchronicities, moments where the universe seems to nudge you, whispering through timing, symbols, chance encounters, and you realize awareness is portable. What you learned in the dream world can and must be applied here. In lucid dreams, thoughts shape reality instantly. A single belief births a mountain, a fear summons a storm, and then you awaken and realize the same principle operates here, only more discreetly. Your thoughts, beliefs, and emotions mold your life experience every day, not in flashes of fantasy, but through energy, magnetism, and resonance. The dream world amplifies the truth. You are the architect of perception. In the language of spirituality, this is co-creation, your soul dancing with the universe moment by moment. This perspective invites a radical kind of responsibility. No longer a victim of circumstance, you begin to live with intention. You pause before reacting. You question your narratives. You recognize emotional patterns not as random moods, but as echoes of inner dialogues. Just as in the dream, you can change the script. You can face the fear. You can choose a new ending. Life becomes an active terrain of mysticism, not because it is mystical by nature, but because you are finally awake within it. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." Lucid living is exactly this, making the unconscious conscious in real time. You see projections in relationships. You decode symbols in daily events. You sense when something is off, not because of logic, But because your soul has learned to listen beneath the noise, it's not magic, it's mastery. The kind that emerges when presence replaces habit and wonder replaces assumption. And so the walls between dream and waking dissolve. The streetlight becomes a lighthouse, the stranger becomes a mirror. Every moment asks, "Are you here?" Just like in the dream, the world becomes responsive, not perfectly, but poetically. And perhaps the greatest realization isn't that we can wake up in dreams, but that we can live awake, right here, right now. Which leads us to one last doorway, a truth quietly passed down through the ages, that dreaming isn't an escape from reality, it's a return to the soul's true home. What if dreaming is not the opposite of waking, but its deeper form? Across ancient traditions, dreams were never dismissed as random illusions. They were rites, mirrors, initiations. The dream was a classroom where the soul studied itself. And even now, for those who remember, that sacred classroom is still open every night. In the path of spirituality, too, dream consciously is to walk hand in hand with the universe, deciphering the hidden curriculum of your own becoming. Lucid dreams and vivid recall are not just skills, they're thresholds. They mark the beginning of a deeper journey, one that leads not away from life but into it. Each dream carries a seed. Some bring healing, others bring confrontation. Some just bring beauty, the kind that lingers in your chest long after you've opened your eyes. These seeds, when planted in waking awareness, grow into transformation. That moment you faced the monster, you integrated your fear. That conversation with the lost loved one, you reopened your heart. To evolve spiritually is not to escape the world, but to embrace it with new eyes. Dreams teach us how. They show us our symbols, our wounds, our potentials. They test us in realms where failure costs nothing but insight. The more we surrender to this inner work, the more aligned we become with the natural rhythms of the universe. Even chaos begins to feel orchestrated. Even silence feels full. In this space, mysticism ceases to be abstract. It becomes lived experience, embodied through every subtle shift of consciousness. Jung believed the dream was a self-regulating system, the psyche's way of restoring balance. A dream ignored is a message unopened, a lesson deferred, but a dream honored, that is a gift unwrapped by the soul itself. You begin to walk through life differently, not as a sleepwalker, but as a witness, not as a reactor, but as a creator. And from this place, evolution happens naturally, not forced but revealed. Like the moon pulling the tide, your deeper self begins to guide your choices with quiet precision. So, what if the real awakening doesn't happen after the dream, but within it? What if every night is an invitation to reconnect with who you really are, beyond titles, fears, and noise? Dreaming, then, is not a retreat from life. It's the training ground for presence, the forge of soul, memory, the whisper that says, "You are more." And as you walk forward, remembering more each night, living more each day, you come to see that awakening was never a single moment. It was always a process, a rhythm, a return. Now tell me, what was the last dream you almost remembered, but lost? What do you think it was trying to show you? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to know what you feel is behind the forgetting. Was it protection, a hidden message, or something more? Mysterious? And don't forget, if this journey stirred something inside you, subscribe now and turn on notifications. That's how you stay connected to future revelations that the universe might be preparing just for you. The next video that's about to appear on your screen, it's the continuation of this awakening, and you won't want to miss it. Thank you for walking this path with me. Until next time, this is Celestial Truths.